3 minutes of the Condor, 3 days of the least grebe. Brought to you in Technicolor full stereo sound. Robert Redford would be amazed or appalled, not really sure. But here we go with another birding adventure. This feature film starts in the middle though, and then goes to the end, and then back to the beginning, and then back to the middle. So if you like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction style, you'll be on board with this impending disaster of a video in no time. So, CB and I just got back from a north-south cross-country drive to Montana where we snatched up a bunch of life listers, including a grab bag of grebes. Up at Georgetown and East Fork, we got a new hummingbird called a calliope, some new ducks and gulls, and a couple of Clark's nutcrackers. Saw a Townsend solitaire in Washoe Park, and thanks to KG's wife Lori, we got our first American dipper, a little bird that swims and fishes in fast-running mountain streams. These were all great, but let's get back to Grebeville for a minute. Pie-billed grebes are seemingly everywhere we go, but this week we saw several red-necked grebes in Montana, and the Bear River Refuge in Utah gave up some western grebes, Clark's grebes, and we even turned up an eared grebe or two somewhere south of Salt Lake City. It was the conclusion of a week-long grebe fest, if I may, which takes us back to 3 days before our journey when we noticed a few reports of something called a least grebe, which was supposedly near some old dam in the desert about an hour southwest of our place. This is a grebe that is not common in the U.S., so since CB and I were birding in Patagonia at the time, we checked the map and decided to make the trek into the remote sector of desert after lunch. What we didn't know is that the rough mountain road crossing over to the site was more than 20 miles of bone-jarring ruts from our starting point. And after losing cell service and then missing the turn into the gulch, we popped out into a little town, immediately gave up, exhausted and spent in the 110-degree heat, and took the easy way home on the pavement. That night I looked at the map and saw where we missed the switchback turnoff, so we decided to give it another go the next morning. We went back the easy way and actually found the turnoff into the gulch, which of course had a big giant sign pointing right at it. How we missed it is still a mystery, but nevertheless, it was all good. We drove another few miles down to what we thought might be the old dam. It was basically just a big puddle sitting at a fork in the road. Of course, we looked at the map screenshot and the actual GPS point, and it didn't seem quite right, so we drove another handful of really rough miles south until this happened. We hit the wall, you know what I mean? The wall. And there were Border Patrol agents and helicopters and stuff flying around chasing people through the mountains. So we turned around as fast as we could and got back to that fork in the road where that puddle was. So we're there, so we decided to take the other road, went all the way through some fences, and then ran into the wall again. Well, we're lost again, trying to find this rare bird and can't find it. We're all the way down by Mexico. The wall is just right there. And the only thing we found so far is this burned out shell of a car. No windows and full of bullet holes. So, awesome. Feeling pretty good about it. All right, I guess we head back to town. 2 days in a row. Fail. I have to admit, I was a bit frustrated, covered in sweat and road dust, and I said some harshly phrased things in the presence of my beautiful wife's delicate ears. Very harsh indeed. So we packed for the trip to Montana that night, and I couldn't stop myself from getting on Google Earth to look at the actual landscape. After 10 seconds of research, I was stunned to see the puddle at the fork of the road was exactly where we needed to be. It was just the dried up end of a huge pond hidden between the forked roads themselves. Unbelievable. I never said I was the smartest birder in the world. So anyway, I showed CB and we both knew what had to be done. First thing in the morning, we made the hour drive yet again, and as we turned into the gulch, after months of brutal heat and desert dryness, it began to rain. 3 failed attempts, and it's not looking real good right now. We'll see. We soldiered on, made it to the fork and the old dam, found a hidden access road I'd spotted on Google, and climbed down to the water. It was a beautiful hidden gem of a place. Within 5 minutes, we heard the call of the grebe, and despite a greyhawk's objections to our presence there, began capturing the pair of least grebes building their nest with our Z50s in the light rain. There's a greyhawk.
Just a spectacular morning. It is absolutely gorgeous, and we got a life list bird, rare bird in Arizona, the least grebe. We got the least grebe.
Success at last. and the first of many grebes to come in the grebish week ahead. Thus, the 3 days of the least grebe gave way to the highly anticipated 3 minutes of the condor.
Condor contact, T-minus 40 minutes.
On the very next day, as we left for Montana, heading north via the Navajo Bridge in northern Arizona, and in the oppressive 115-degree heat, we glanced over the bridge into the massive gorge, saw nothing at all, and gave up immediately, as all good birders do. We dove back into the AC of the pickup truck, and as we were pulling out of the little parking area, I looked back to my left to check for traffic, and my eye caught instead the wings of a magnificent soaring California condor. I screamed, "Condor!" in a weirdly high, girlish voice, and CB scrambled for her camera as I struggled to turn the truck around. The massive pterodactyl-like being dove under the bridge and waited for us to grab these few quick snapshots. Life Lister, 3 minutes of the condor. Birds ringing out.